All right, so we're here with Derick. He is one of the owners of Chez-Vous in Dorchester, Massachusetts, and the founder of the Swerve Move Boston movement. So thank you so much for sitting down with me. I so appreciate it. Everyone is so excited about this interview because people just love you. They do. They love Derick, and they love what you've done for skate, especially in Boston. So tell me a little bit about, how did you end up buying or owning the rink you grew up skating in? How did that happen?
My father actually owned it. My father grew up at Chez-Vous, like many people did. So he ended up, building a strong relationship with the previous owner before him.
Yeah.
So the owner was like, oh, we don't want to be in the business anymore. Do you want to buy it? So my father bought it off of him.
Oh, wow.
And then he passed it down to myself and my siblings. So that's where we're at now. Yeah.
That's amazing. So how many are there?
Well, there's total 5 of us, but 3 of us are the adults that's running it.
Right. So you come from a big family,
yes,
and everybody roller skates.
Yeah.
And now I saw that you guys, the menu there, nobody goes to a roller rink and is like, I'm going to have dinner, right? But I ate dinner at your rink and I was like, oh my God, I'm always going to eat here now. Like I would go in if I didn't have my skates. So where did you guys come up with the menu and who's responsible for that?
We always had like a different take on how we, do stuff. Fresh fried chicken, like that's been like an age-old
My God,
thing.
the fried chicken was so good.
Like we try to stand apart because it's like, when people come out to places, they want quality stuff. So we always had like fresh fried chicken, the pizza fresh. We try to do everything like a homemade meal.
Yeah.
The Chez-Vous is like a representation of like a home, it's really homely, it's really welcoming. So we try to have that entire, representation to our menu. Do the way we are with our staff, and our customers. You wouldn't even know that, the difference of who's the staff, who's the customer.
You really wouldn't.
We all treat each other like family. We saw, we've known each other for years.
It's funny because the first time someone pointed you out and said I knew it was Derick, I knew it was Swerve, and then they said the owner of Chez-Vous, and I said, who's that? He said Derick, and I was like, because you're just so humble and you're so out there with everybody, and you really seem to have a mentorship role with a lot of skaters. I always see you teaching people. I'm always trying to sneak in and but tell me, how is that? I saw that you guys did a back to school event for the community. You offered haircuts and you offered backpacks. That's amazing. So tell me a little bit about that.
So we did, every year we try to, often, not just back to school. We do a lot for the community. We offer free events and, try to do things and collaborate with other organizations to bring the community skating and resources and things that just are not available to them anywhere else.
Right.
The only Black-owned establishment of that kind of entertainment-wise in the city or in the state. And, for the inner-city kids and, people that don't have the cars to go all the way out 40 minutes away to these other places, we try to be a spot where they can come and, get resources like free skating and haircuts and backpacks. So we decided, let's, for back to school, this is our first one back. Let's offer as much as we can. So we partnered with a lot of people, and it was a success. It was nice. It was really nice.
That's so beautiful. Speaking of being a Black-owned business in the community, a skate business. Now, when your dad owned it, what year did he open it, or what year did he?
So it's always been open.
Okay.
Since 1933.
Okay.
But he acquired it like somewhere in the early, mid 90s.
Okay.
To transition and getting the property, to him.
Yeah.
So, he did a big overhaul in the year 2000. That's when you see all the graffiti and all the the vibe you see on the walls and the artwork and stuff. That's where that came in.
And it's literally probably the safest skate rink you could have ever in America, because it's lined with Boston police, just because their police station, I think, is right there. So
but so ironic, everyone didn't always think that.
Really? Now,
being in a community where it's very residential, there were times where the scene was different. It wasn't as safe per se to people who don't know the community and don't know the culture. For someone on the outside looking in, it's like, it's a Black-owned establishment with all those people in there. Sometimes people would fight in different areas outside, nothing to do with us. But we get that reputation as, it's unsafe. And it's like, no, it's actually the safest place to go, because you walk in there, you feel that family, but you don't
Yeah.
You don't feel that any other place in Massachusetts as far as how the setup is. You know, so a lot of people was able to stay off the streets, save their lives, and get into something constructive.
Yeah.
If we weren't there, it would have been a different story for a lot of the teams that I've grown up with.
Absolutely. And I think, like something like, on Concast, I'm not afraid to dig into the stuff that's the hard stuff that a lot of people don't talk about that. But, in America, I mean, for 1964, the Civil Rights Movement, segregation in the skate community. I mean, before, when you had soul nights, and that's when Black African Americans were able to go and skate, that's when jam skating, the culture of skating actually came about. So the skating that we all love, or at least our groups, that we travel around New England with, they jam skate, no one's figure skating. Talk to me about how have you guys kept that culture alive?
Being authentic is important. We stick to what we know, not to what we know, but what works for our community. When you come in there, it's a very straightforward space. We're not trying to do too much. Everyone gets to come in, be themselves, and it maintains itself. When you don't try to change too much of your recipe, you keep it going as long as you can, especially if everybody likes it.
Absolutely.
But of course, along the way things change. Like skating has changed in the mainstream sense of what everyone sees it to be versus what they knew it to be in the 90s. Like, if you looked at 90s skating in Boston, it's a different scene.
Yeah. What was that scene like? You
had to be there.
Yeah.
But it was like, it's not different as far as the values of everyone just coming in and, getting a good skate in and really cherishing that community space. That hasn't changed. It's just the energy, the rawness of it was just so much more like in your face back then versus now. There's so much more diversity, so much more of a different edge to it that maybe, if you would show that to the 90s crowd that was there back then, they would recognize it.
Right.
Because with the age of social media, everyone gets to watch everyone's different styles, different tricks and stuff. So
and everyone's got their own style. I mean, Chicago's got their style, New York's got their style. So what would you say? What's Boston's style? Like, what's Boston's signature?
Like, we're hard hitting and fast.
Okay.
Very hard hitting. If you see, like when the crowd gets into it and the vibe picks up, everyone's speeding. They're dashing. They're dashing around. Around and around. So it's like you have to really be on your toes, or
And I think Boston's such a Skillshare community too. I'm always seeing people grab other people and just everyone's teaching something. You got whistles on the skateboard. You've got everybody's looking to kind of help elevate the next person next to you. So in that diversity, I mean, it's an amazing crowd at your skate rink. So besides Chez-Vous in Dorchester, because that's the #1 rink in America, do you have a favorite rink that you would recommend someone check out?
And everywhere I've been.
Yeah?
I've been a lot of places.
Everywhere. Maybe like top 3.
I love Branch Brook Park. That's in New Jersey.
Okay.
That's the one. That's the place where, to be honest, before I went to that rink, I wasn't into skating as I was now.
Really?
I was always around it. I always skated. I love skating. I always will.
Yeah.
But the level that you see me at, like throwing events and like really wanting this to grow, I didn't really understand how far it could go until I went.
Yeah.
And I went to that rink, Branch Brook in New Jersey. I just saw. I was like 17 years old. I'm 32 now. I walked in. Me and a couple of people from Boston, we decided to just go. I was invited. I'm like, all right, I'll go. I almost didn't go because I really didn't care.
Yeah.
So I went and I walked in. It was this big arena of just skaters, just like doing a million different things.
Yeah.
But some of them were smooth. Some of them had tricks that I've never seen in my life. And this is before social media. There wasn't no video recording. There was none of this. None of it. So I was just like, wow. And I took that with me, and I just was like, hold on. Because at that time, Boston was still, skating, but not at the level of back in the day. So I just was like, we got to do something.
Right.
They're in here doing all of this with probably 1,000. It looked like, to me, it felt like 1,000 people.
Right.
So I'm just like, if we can't do that, I don't know what's wrong with us.
Right.
And I just, from there, try my best to just, do more with my own repertoire. I practice. I started traveling. And then that's what Swerve Swerve came about was like, you know, in main cities like New York, LA, Atlanta, they have like these skate weekends where it's like a 3-day skate weekend and people traveling from all over the country to skate together for late at night, from like 12 midnight to like 5, 6 in the morning.
That's amazing.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
Cascade in Atlanta.
Ooh, all right, okay.
That's another one. 'Cause I went down
Atlanta's got a big skate culture.
my first big skate party of that magnitude, like where it was just like people everywhere, all over, was Skate-a-thon in Atlanta, 2008. And I walked in and I just was like, what is going on? Like,
Right.
You know, it's like, I've never in my lifetime, and you know, being an adult, got to see that at home. So
Yeah.
it was just like, wow, this skate thing is alive. You know, why isn't Boston on it the way these people truly are on it right now? Because the place was packed. If you look to your left and to your right, you're not moving without running into somebody.
Right.
That's how big it was. So
Now, what do you think? How do you think COVID changed skating? You know, everybody on TikTok and Instagram, like, oh my God, skating's back. But it's like, no, skating never left. It just, you know, the black community actually kept skating alive for this last 40, 50 years. But I think TikTok, Instagram, COVID gave it a platform it hadn't had before.
right.
So where do you see skating going? Do you see this as, you know, just a fad that everybody in America is getting into? Or do you see this blowing up and continuing to build?
For me, it can go both ways.
Yeah.
It depends on the investment of the communities that are involved. For example, I know places like Atlanta, they're gonna blow up. You know, they have that mainstream attention from like the movies and the celebrities that always go there.
Yeah.
So places like them are always gonna be good. It's the places like Boston that has to like really dig in, like Providence, Connecticut, places that you don't really know about, you know, from the mainstream. Like you don't hear about our cities in the mainstream the way you hear about.
It's almost like we need to come together and all be like one, like New England skate community. And I think, wow, that's all right.
We have to.
We have
because
to.
If we don't, it becomes like, okay, skating is hot right now.
Yeah.
But if people don't pour into it, it can go right back to where it was. And I'm trying
So
hardest.
true. You know, and I think there's so many of us that skate that it's not it's a hobby, but it's not a hobby. It's a lifestyle. I think that what you described in New Jersey happened to me twice. Once when I came to Chez-Vous for the first time. You know, I remember looking at my camera and saying, if there's an OnlyFans for skating, I'm doing it because this is like the best thing ever, you know? And the second one was going out to LA and skating on Venice Beach. And I think you said you've been there before.
And I loved it.
Absolutely. And, you know, if you've never been to Venice Beach to skate, there is an energy about it. Just like you said, that rawness that you probably saw in the 90s. The only place you're ever going to find that in America again is like on Venice Beach. You know, with OGs who are out there every single day. And I've been out there for 50 years, every single day. And I think, but what a great goal to have to bring that. So what do we need to do to bring it to the Boston, New England area and make us know?
What people don't know is Boston is really, really dope.
Yeah.
New England is really, really dope. It's not like we have to take from someone else to do it. We just gotta show up.
I like that.
When we show up, great things happen. When we ignore things and don't nurture it, they die. It's hard for people to get into skating as adults, and it's hard to influence the kids from a place where they don't know, they don't have examples, they don't have inspiration. I'm not sure if you know, his name is Mari. You've seen him out here. His dad, Kareem.
Yes. Oh, yes. Uncle Kareem.
Yeah. Like, those two keep me going. It's like that father-son dynamic where the father is still doing it, but he keeps his son close, and that culture is being passed down.
Yes.
And that's what we need. If we're not doing it as the adults, showing that, hey, this is something it's not whack, it's not uncool to skate.
Right. It's like the coolest thing you can do, first off.
Get off your phones, get off your couch, get off the social media. Come on and skate and meet people. That's how we used to do it. Like, the people that I know in Boston, I didn't meet them on TikTok.
No.
I didn't meet them on Instagram. I met them in person. We grew up.
I met you skating.
Yeah.
I met everybody in my life.
Exactly.
Skating.
We grew up in Chez-Vous as kids.
Yeah.
We grew up to be adults and raising kids and everything else through that that building, and now we're passing that culture down to our, our nieces and nephews and kids. And,
Absolutely.
And that's what Boston, Rhode Island, and New England needs to remember. Like, we have to nurture these things and not necessarily chase what's going on around us, because what's going on around us already has its own thing.
Right.
We gotta remember we have our own dope.
We're not trying to be New York. We're not trying to be Atlanta. We're not trying to be New Jersey.
No,
We are.
it's inspirational. I love to see it, but it's like, I know the movements that we're doing right now, and people that we're meeting like yourself. Like, we didn't know each other 3 months ago.
No.
And now it's like you're a part of the community, like you was here for the last couple of years, and that's how it is.
And that's that feeling that I think so many people are looking for, a sense of connection.
Right.
And where do you find it as an adult? It's hard to be an adult and want to make friends. I remember when I moved to Rhode Island, because I'm from the Boston area, and I moved to Rhode Island, and I was just, how do I make friends? It took me like 5 years, and then once I got into the skating community, I mean, every night of the week I've got someone I can call if I want to. And I think, for adults who are thinking about getting into skating, or people who might be nervous, it's not as dangerous as you think.
Right.
Wear your gear and have no fear. Don't do what I did. Get a lesson. Figure it out. And do you guys offer lessons for adults? Okay, tell me a little bit about when and where.
We do Wednesday, right before the Wednesday session, adult night.
Okay.
We have 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. We do, an hour lesson then. And then Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. we do a Saturday lesson as well.
And you guys you have rentals, you've got everything you need.
Yep.
Just bring your own wrist guards, I would say. Bring some wrist guards and you're good.
You're straight, but taking our classes, we have some good instructors, so you'll learn so much, because people just don't realize skating is just repetition. You gotta just keep showing up.
Absolutely.
There's so many people who I've met during the pandemic, because when Chez-Vous closed down, I took the movement outside. I had to, I already had the Boston Swerve movement, because we were doing the big skate weekend at Chez-Vous every April. But I just knew, I said, I have to do more to keep this name out. The building is closed, but the movement has to do something. So it turned into me doing events like everywhere. I was all over the place, and meeting these people, you wouldn't think they just started skating for a year.
Oh, I've seen some of them.
Some of them was like, how long have you been skating? And they're like, oh yeah, 6 months. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm a little embarrassed because some of them are better than me. Because, no, seriously, it's like, yeah.
I know some of the people you're talking about, and it is so true. And I think, it just goes to show, I think sometimes when you get it unlocked.
Yeah.
And I will say, I've said this to my skate community, and I think there's a lot of people in the skate community who probably grew up never having a group, never having people, because they don't think we're like everybody else. We don't connect always on the superficial stuff, right? Like, there's a spirit about us, and that spirit, I think, is very contagious, and that energy is contagious. And I haven't met a bad egg yet in the skate community. I think the bad eggs get picked out real quick. I think people know, like, I can't mess with this community. And we even saw it. I think it's a beautiful example. Some people said some not so nice things online about a recent event that our buddy DJ Manny was doing. And really probably some bots just trying to stir up some crap. And I think everybody came to his side. There was comments about racism and bigotry, and everybody came out. Manny doesn't even have Facebook.
Right.
And everybody came out, and it's funny. Nobody was disrespectful. Everybody just put that person in their place in the most respectful, kind way of like, we don't care what you have to say. We know who we are. We're not looking, this is what we do. Have whoever you want show up. We'll be doing our thing. And I think that's the thing that keeps us separate from any other community I've ever been a part of.
Sure.
We're not looking for trouble. We're looking for triumph,
Sure. Yeah, we want more people to come in and be comfortable and to learn that we can all come together and make this happen.
Absolutely.
There's way too many people who skate or have roller skates or own skates or know how to skate for rinks to be closing or for rinks to not have good attendance. Because we have some great rinks in Massachusetts. Roller World is great.
Yep.
Forrest and Taunton, if you haven't been there, I'm sure you haven't been there yet, but he's another one.
That's where I bought my skates, actually.
He's a great guy. We have a great working relationship. He's the main place I would have my events when Chez-Vous was closed. So we had that good relationship, and it's disheartening to hear like roller skating rink owners saying the same thing, like, it's slow and it's hard, and Carousel and Whitman.
That's my home. That was my home rink as a child.
Miss Charlene, she's another one.
Yeah.
worth. But for me, it's worth it because you get to meet a lot of people. You get to make a difference. You know, a lot of people are doing things that are not making a difference. You know, skating rinks do make a difference. You're giving someone a place to go, to let out some steam, to get that sense of second family. You know, like shoot, my skate family is almost like my first family. I don't get to see my actual family as much as I see my skate.
We're actually planning like a skate giving right now. You know, we should do that. We should do a Chez-Vous night, skate giving. You know, it's interesting. I think for me, so I think I was sharing with you earlier. So I'm almost over 8 months now. Thank you. And I try. You know, I couldn't really get into the meetings. I think I'm just a different generation. That scene wasn't for me, and so I kept thinking, like, what am I going to do with myself to keep myself busy while I embark on this, like, kind of really crazy, you know, people, I could never stop drinking. I used to be one of those people. And I found skating, you know, and I remember just the first time I left the rink, I was crying, and I have it on video because I record everything. And I was crying because I felt so happy. I felt like it's the first time in so many years I had just gone out and played. Like when you skate, there's no goal, right? There's no time limit. There's no thing you have to be. You're there to just exist and be with other people who are enjoying that. And I think that's really, it's not a game. It's a culture. So it's a beautiful culture to be part of. So thank you so much for talking. This is amazing. So if you are thinking about getting into skating, or if you want to be just a part of the skate community and check it out, definitely travel to Boston, to Dorchester, to see Derick and the Swerve group at Chez-Vous. If you're from the Rhode Island area, I'll be linking some things in this video as to where you can go. This is one of the last events we're having in Providence, but we open back up, I think, in the spring, and I think we're going to be doing something big next year.
It's going to be dope. Well, listen, we're going to be here a lot.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
I can't wait.
So much, brother. So good. All right. Thank you guys for coming and seeing Concast once again. We'll see you next time. That was pretty.
See, I told you.